This is Zach Wilson and Ken Fermin once again on another edition of Spotlight here on the sports section of WUSB Stony Brook 90.1 FM. And joining us today, we got Allie Kennedy, who's just coming back after 5 weeks playing Athletes Unlimited along with her former teammate and Kylie Miller. Allie, thank you for joining us. How's everything been since coming back home to the island?
It's been great. Thanks for having me, guys. I've had a great time in Maryland, but I'm definitely happy to be home. Happy to see some familiar faces, but overall it was a great experience.
Talk to us about that experience where, again, you're going away from home and spending over a month training, practicing, getting to further establish these connections and relationships with 59 other incredibly talented women's lacrosse athletes.
I pretty much had an idea of who they were, but like you said, I got the chance to, make new relationships and learn things about people on a deeper level than just placing faces to names and all that sort of thing. And, I think coming out of college right away and going into it definitely gave me an advantage of that. The fact that I was playing every day, some girls since COVID hadn't played in over a year and a half, and they would always complain about, practicing every day and everything. And I was like, this is actually a walk in the park compared to, Stony Brook. So it was definitely a lot of fun. And I made a lot of new relationships there that I'm really thankful for. And, I'm just happy that women's lacrosse, there's a future after college for, the players that want to continue to do it. And I think it's a really great opportunity to help grow the game in general, men's or women's. And I'm honored to be a part of the first season ever that was to do it. So it was really cool.
Yeah, and you were able to reunite with your former teammate, Kylie Miller. And during this final weekend or a few weekends ago, she selected you to be a part of it. And I'm sure that would have been quite an experience to once again play alongside a person who you helped make Stony Brook Women's Lacrosse look like a great program for the last few years. Tell us more about being able to once again hook up with Kylie and once again playing at your best level.
It was awesome. I'm really thankful that Kylie picked me to be on her team. It's obviously really cool that, probably the face of women's lacrosse is Kylie Miller, and she thinks you're good enough to be on her team. So it's an honor. And I just love being able to have that Stony Brook connection and, even say that there is a Stony Brook connection and Stony Brook out, not help Stony Brook out, but, show that although it is a mid-major, it can compete with the top programs no matter what are those Power Fives or big schools I usually hear of that, Stony Brook produces the same talent level and sometimes even better. So it was really exciting. And to be able just to play with her again, she had been my captain for 2 years when I was at Stony Brook and we were able to play together. So it was normal for me to, follow her lead and want to work hard for her. And I think she did a great job of handling herself and the stress that definitely comes with being a captain and having to pick a team.
And you two really did not miss a beat. It looked like the old Stony Brook days when you two were teaming up together for those weekends. And especially for yourself, it's not really just a connection that I thought was a reason why she picked you and picked you early, usually as one of the first 3 overall selections for her team. You were top 10 in goals, top 15 in MVP points overall. So, you definitely delivered on your end as well. And you said last time we spoke that you're not the typical midfielder, staying at 5'3", really utilizing speed over size. So what is it like to really showcase that you are a prime example of how this position is really changing, especially in the future of lacrosse on a national level?
I hope people take notice of it, because there are the midfielders that are there. They're really tall and they got really long legs and just long limbs in general. And you usually see those girls taking the draw and they just have an arm length that doesn't stop and literally can grab the ball, way higher than I could ever imagine. But to your point of, changing the viewpoint of what a typical midfielder is, I actually, after one of the games, had a girl come up to me and she asked me what some advice on, getting over her height and how to push through that. So it was really kind of a humbling moment for me to step back and be like, wow, okay, girls are actually taking notice of it and I can help inspire, girls who maybe lacking in height or aren't the tallest on the field or aren't the tallest midfielders on their team, and inspire them to be the best somewhere else, whether that's speed, dodging, shooting, ground ball play, just hustling all around. You get born like with height. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't, but work ethic is something that's deep inside you. So I just tell them to let that come out of them and show people that you're going to be the hardest worker on the field, regardless of your height.
How do you think this feels like to gain that type of popularity, especially seeing how other players, like Kylie, who has developed that into something special to encourage lacrosse players? How do you see yourself working on something similar to that?
I just think it's awesome. No matter win or loss, I always want to go in the stands and greet fans or people who know me, have any questions about the game. Like, I will never turn away anyone that needs advice or wants a picture or something for me to sign, because it is still an unreal experience to me that, people know who I am and like look up to me, because I definitely have a ton of role models in my life that I would have liked to meet. So the fact that, I could be that for someone is really awesome. And, my parents came to every single game, and I'd be up in the stands talking to them after the games over the last 5 weeks, and girls would come up to me and, they'd have the biggest smiles on their face, and my mom and dad would be taking pictures of me talking to them. So it's just really cool. And I just hope to play lacrosse in college or anything like that, but I just want them to be confident in themselves and, help inspire female athletes in general that, being good doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you or that you should be cornered in the way that some girls are, and that just to be who they are. So that's really my big thing, because having the chance to be on such like a huge platform with CBS Sports picking us up and also Fox Sports really inspires me that girls can turn on the TV and watch the sport that they play finally.
On top of that as well, news recently coming out that second season will be confirmed. How excited were you for that? And did you feel like you knew there would be a second season?
I hoped there'd be a second season, but you never know.
Right.
Because lacrosse it's not a football, it's not a soccer. It's nowhere near baseball or anything like that. So, it's all about like Athletes Unlimited did such a great job of giving us everything they needed, housing us, getting us out there, like getting us on TV and everything like that costs money, but we have to, make some in return to give back to Athletes Unlimited. So it was like nerve-wracking to see like how the viewership was, if people watched, if people liked it. But it really showed in the last weekend that we were there. The last game of the season was a fan game, and the stands were packed, and it was crazy. And it was, one of the most packed. The stadium didn't have two sides to it, so it was only one side, but I'm not even kidding. There was no room for anyone else to be there. So it was really cool to see that we had that effect. And I hope that it translated, on the TV as well.
Oh,
and
it
it's not
absolutely
just
did.
like sending a link to your parents to be like, here's the stream, like watch it. Like you actually got to turn on your television and watch it. I know it's definitely easier for my grandpa to figure out than watching my college games. So
right. And not even just the TV, but the social media aspect as well. Because I thought that's really where Athletes Unlimited thrived, was just how much social media impact all the players and all the fan support was.
Yeah, it was really cool. I before Athletes Unlimited, I would always like admire how the PLL had their like content team. Like literally, if there was a play, it would be posted in the next 10 minutes or something like that. And they like always kept fans engaged and everything like that. And I think the Athletes Unlimited team did the same thing, where people are running around trying to get content out. We were sent photos after games like almost immediately. We had so many photographers, so many video cameras in our face all the time. It felt really intense on the field while playing, that people were trying to capture everything that was going on the field. And it was really cool. And I have to give them credit, because social media aspect now is definitely huge.
Along with Kylie, there were a lot of other star players that were really great when they were in college, there were some that you do remember playing against. I remember there was Sam Apuzzo when Stony Brook played against Boston College. There was also players that, while you were still in high school, made quite a name for themselves in college lacrosse, like Taylor Cummings, who was, of course, the eventual MVP and champion the entire Athletes Unlimited League in the first year. How excited were you to finally see some of those players after they played in college when you were still in high school, finally getting the chance to size yourself up against those top-notch experienced players?
I mean, it was really cool. I know Sam and Taylor both from playing US with them. So going in knowing some of the top names is really cool for me to be like, oh, like I could just casually start up a conversation with Taylor Cummings because we know each other, or same with Sam Apuzzo. Like, but on the outside, like everyone is very similar, very much like same personality kind of thing going on. So I made the 5 weeks go by really fast in the sense that everyone hung out, everyone got along, and it didn't matter, reputation or anything. Everyone was there to play the sport that they loved, but it was definitely cool to, play against the best in the world and make plays against them. And you just have to know that they're really good. They're going to make plays against you as well. So, but I really, really like those two. And I always, find myself watching them and always being so impressed with their talent and skill level.
Yeah, and that's my next question too, is because with the unique structure, we're going to get to that in a minute, that unique structure of the league and just the interchangeable rosters week in and week out, you got to play with virtually everyone in the league. So who were some of your favorite teammates? Who were some people you really looked forward to competing against every weekend? And also, who's someone that you didn't think you would have, or you realized you had a better connection with after playing with them than you went into that week of practice?
I think I really, really, really liked playing with Haley Warden. She went to JMU. She won the national championship. I think it was 2018 when the national championship was at Stony Brook. So sad for me, but good for her. Really like her. She took the draw. She's really awesome. Just a sweet person in general. I mean, there's no one, honestly, that I really looked forward to playing against just because everyone's so good. Where, when I hear like, oh, who do you look forward to playing against? I kind of think of like an easy matchup, but there were 0 easy matchups because the talent level was so crazy. But a connection that I had, I guess, was with the Parekha sisters, who I'm a big fan of. They're Long Island natives. They both went to Florida. I just seem to work very well with them. I think I'm very similar.
Agreed.
We're built kind of the same, and they just have that like gritty mindset as well. So I really liked playing with them as well.
I was going to say they fed you quite a few great passes inside. We were really able to get some great one-on-one matchups with against the goaltender. Usually you beat her pretty well off some of their passes.
Also, another player that you had the honor of playing with in the Athletes Unlimited, Kayla Traynor. She has been through a lot in the last few years. Her spending the last few years as an assistant at Boston College, recently helping them win the national championship, especially thanks to Charlotte North's Tewaaraton season. Now she's being named the head coach for the Syracuse Orange, replacing Gary Gay, who's transferring over onto the men's side. Seeing her play with you in Athletes Unlimited and now also gaining that coaching experience, what could you say about her being relentless in her experience being a top-notch player at Syracuse and her experience working with the ACC?
Yeah, she's unreal, and she's going to do great at Syracuse. I think she's just a top player. She's a great person. And, it's kind of deceiving because when you watch her play, she is so intense and she has so much passion and emotion behind everything she does. And then when you talk to her off the field, she's very soft-spoken and sweet and is really someone who will lend an ear whenever anyone needs help. So she's going to crush it at Syracuse. And I had the honor to be on the same team as her twice. And every single time she had the ball, I was like, oh, automatic goal. Like, she's going to score right now. And every time I played against her, I'm like, holy crap, she's about to score. Like, we got to defend her. So it was really awesome, and I'm super happy for her that she got to go back to, you know, Syracuse, where she had an unreal career, and gets to kind of make it full circle and be the head coach. And, you know, hopefully, although that program's already been to the national championship, I don't think they've ever won one. So my fingers are crossed for her, and I wish nothing but the best for her. She's a great person. I really like her as well.
Something too I really wondered as well is you got, as we mentioned, all these talented athletes who fulfill so many positions outside of the league, whether it's coaching, being assistants, some were recent graduates such as yourself. Maybe you're Kylie Miller and you're ambassador of the game. So you're traveling everywhere and, you know, hosting your own camps and things like of that nature. So with all of that, what were practices like?
Yeah, the practices were about like an hour and a half long. And they were interesting because 3 games a weekend with that format and the new rules and the speed and physicality of the game really takes a toll on your body. So our only day off was Monday, really. Wow. And we were right back to practice on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So practices were way more laid back than you'd think, because we wanted to kind of rest up for the 3 games that we had ahead of us, and just going over game plan and kind of scouting the people on the other teams and their tendencies, because you get to know them pretty well since everyone pretty much plays with everybody. So it'd be funny to hear girls talk about their friends being like, she'll never put her stick in her left hand, or she hates clearing the ball. Like, I love her, but she hates, you know, shooting low or something like that. So it was definitely interesting. It was more mental than a physically taxing practice.
It's so unique, something we've never seen before. And in my opinion, I thought it was just incredible to watch, and a big fan of the rules. 8-minute quarters, 10v10 gameplay, 60 seconds on the shot clock. And as opposed to the 120, 65-yard field we see in college, 90 by 60. What was it like going into the league and having to, I guess, adjust to those changes?
It was a little bit intimidating and confusing, but it was also a learning process, I think, for everyone. I don't know if it looked like that on the TV, but there was really no set in stone rules or rule book. It was just based off of, you know, the refs' kind of opinion, or it was very subjective. They have refed in the NCAA, so they obviously know the sport of women's lacrosse and the rules. But since it is a higher level, those rules definitely do change. Like, there was no shooting space, there was no 3 seconds, so you kind of see defenses like sink into the 8. If you notice, there was no 12-meter arc, so it's a little bit different. And it made it faster, if that was even possible, but it did.
No, absolutely did.
And it was actually, the coolest part about it was being able to review things and challenge things. That is such a game changer. And whether it goes your way or not, like, being able to review each goal or, you know, each yellow card or something like that is...
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Yeah, it was really cool, because I feel like I have a few of those plays in my head in college where I'm like, damn, if they could only just go back and review that.
Agreed. I was going to say, too, just the physicality of the league. I mean, just last week, I remember you and Taylor Van Pelt really were going at it, even away from the ball as much as it was on the ball. You know, the refs really didn't call much, but, you know, you once again just lighted it up on the field. And again, seeing a physicality, which we don't really see that much in the college game.
Yeah. It's definitely easy to get heated in those moments when, you know, they do let things go. It was definitely refreshing to not have the refs kind of dictate the game so much. But there were certain calls that, obviously, I'm not going to agree with everything the refs do, but I don't hate all the things that they do. So it's always a love-hate relationship with them. But yeah, that moment got a little heated. I got cheap shotted, so that's why I was on the ground, and I was not very happy about it. But
that's
you know,
fair.
It's the rules of the game. Well, the no rules of the game, I guess, and you can play to them or you can shy away from them. And I was just playing to what the refs would let me do, and it seemed to work out at least once or twice for me.
Since there are a lot of players, a good enough amount of teams in this league, is that the only thing is that everybody, it was all in one venue at the Maryland Soccerplex, which is pretty. I'm sure this is probably something unusual since you were more used over the last few years at Stony Brook playing games that were considered home on the road, especially North Carolina and Syracuse and all. So how does it feel any different, like playing against these?
It was cool being on the same field and like having a stadium and everything like that, but it wasn't quite the same as a home game at Stony Brook. You know, I'm a little bit biased, but I love that stadium. I love Laval, and I don't really think much or many games can beat, you know, the feeling of running out the tunnel. And it was really cool, though, to be able to go to the same field every time. And whether you considered home or away, that really wasn't a factor. And playing these amount of games at the same field and like almost virtually against like the same teams or people, it really went way smoother and better than I thought it was going to be. Like, I really did not expect it to feel as real of like lacrosse games. I thought it would be more of like, you know, like a fantasy team or like a scrimmage every time, but like towards the end especially, like it was getting like emotional and heated and people were like really trying to win. So I was not expecting that. I was expecting it more to be like, yeah, who really cares? But people were really really going hard,
especially online. Some of the comments, oh boy.
Oh, I would bring that whole thing to Long Island somewhere.
Yeah.
I know I'm a little bit biased, but it would sell out every weekend if they did that. That'd be my only change. I know it's probably not going to happen with like the available like venues or something, but I just know for sure that lacrosse is like, I mean, Long Island's such a hotbed for lacrosse that, you know, people would definitely come to every single game. And, you know, it was a bit of a drive from Baltimore. It was like an hour and a half away from Baltimore and like where US headquarters are. So it was deep in Maryland, and I felt bad for my parents making that drive every weekend. So maybe we can cut them a break next year and bring it to Long Island. But that's really it.
I agree. John Patchstoff, you know you're listening. Let's make it happen. Long Island, Stony Brook, you know, would love that Laval Stadium.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get the whole picture about moving Athletes Unlimited to Long Island, because we have acknowledged for years like how that has pretty much been the area where it has garnered the most experienced lacrosse players like you and Allie and Ortega, and the players you've also played there, you know, against North Carolina, and like Ortega and Hodge. There's been a lot of phenomenal players who have also come from the island. So really, just how do you think it would make them feel closer to home in that regards?
I'd feel like a home game every weekend, you know, to have your family, extended family come. Like I know my whole family used to come to all my Stony Brook games because it was 30 minutes away. And regardless of where it is on the island, I think my family would be happy to make a drive, you know, sacrifice 40 minutes, maybe an hour if you hit traffic to come watch, you know, another family play a professional sport. But I think all the Long Islanders would be really grateful for that opportunity.
I really think we're seeing the next steps in where this game is going. So where do you see the game of lacrosse going and continuing to improve on both college games, especially, and professionally?
I hope it keeps growing. I hope that it becomes a powerhouse, and I hope that, you know, it gets the recognition it deserves. And the fact that like maybe one day far down the line, that girls who play lacrosse professionally don't have to have another job, don't have to, you know, have this be their part-time job where their professional salary would be enough to be sustainable and live a life off of. But I know that's in many, many years to come, but that's one thing I'm really hoping for, because that's when I feel like you're really making it, when there's multi-million-dollar deals going down for drafts and stuff. But that's way in the future. That'd be my hope for the game. I just want to keep growing it and, you know, blazing the trail for the years to come. And although it may not feel like it right now, but later on in life, it'll be very cool to, have the honor to be a part of the very first season of Athletes Unlimited Lacrosse. And it's something that I'll definitely talk about forever.
And also with that, since you're going to wait probably a whole year for the second season to begin, just like college, there should be probably more athletes that could probably come for the second season. And you may know some of them who are really dying to get there. They probably include your former teammate, Rain Sabel, who is staying at Stony Brook for another year. And after how she looked defensively over the last 2 years with the Seawolves, seeing her along with other potential candidates for next summer, how excited would you be to have them join the fray?
Oh, I'd be really happy to have like a little Seawolf squad out there and, show that, again, that Stony Brook produces the highest level of talent. And if you come to Stony Brook, you have a very good shot of making it professionally. And that's all I could really hope for. I always want to give back to that program because it has done so much for me. So if that means, I have brought so many clothes during those 5 weeks and 90% of them were Stony Brook stuff. Not because that's all I have, but because I love to wear it and I'm proud of, my college and my program. And so being able to have more of my Seawolf fam with me professionally would definitely be really cool.
Just seeing the game progress faster and in a sense where you're going to see more offense. And do you feel this is right for the growth of lacrosse? Do you feel confident this is really going to get you more eyes on the game?
Yeah, definitely. I think people want to watch a fast-paced, intense, higher scoring game, although some of the games weren't very high scoring in Athletes Unlimited.
Yeah, the first one was 11-3 in your team's favor.
Yeah,
and that was a real fast game.
It was it's definitely fast-paced, high intensity, and that's what people want. If you ever look back to the brutal days of early women's lacrosse, there was no shot clock, and teams' plans were to just stall. Literally, they'd go up 3 goals, win the draw, sit on the offensive end, and stall. No one wants to see that. No one would watch that if they would see one team passing the ball around in circles for an hour. No, they'd turn the TV right off. They'd rather watch something else. So I think the pace of play, the new rules, the new style will help draw eyes to the game, and the less amount of rules there are will also keep fans entertained because they won't ask questions of like why they stop, what's that call, what's going on, why did the ball just go to the other team or something like that. So I think it's what's best, and this type of format will definitely grow the game to my expectations one day. We'll see.
This may once again play into your bias about Stony Brook, but you know how great of a high-scoring team that they have been over the last few years, and seeing how these rules could probably even shake up them as well. Could you expect more goals from them in the next few seasons in each game?
Yeah, if they change the shot clock, or because I know the NCAA just approved quarters for the women's side, so that is true. Definitely be an interesting change. I think Splina will have at least like a quarter minimum goals he's expecting. So I definitely could see, higher scoring games from the Stony Brook side. Or if it does become too fast and turnovers start happening, then I'm not really sure, but it's something I'm excited to see.
Let's say that you were still in college lacrosse and these rules were happening while you were there. How would you feel about playing under those circumstances? Of course, you're going to be doing that in pro as well.
I would be a little upset just because I do like the 30-minute half format, because that's what I've played my entire life. And the only time I wouldn't play that way is when I would go to US, and now obviously with the pros. But it's really not that terribly different. I just think for myself mentally, I would like have checklists for myself being like, okay, I want this amount of draws in one quarter, this amount of shots, maybe this amount of goals or ground balls or something. to keep myself on track and set little personal goals. But I don't know. It would definitely take a little bit of adjustment. And I think that practice plans would definitely change as well, because now it does allow for more rest time and for you to exert a little bit more effort in a short amount of time. But yeah, I don't think I'd be really excited at first. It would definitely take my stubborn self a few games to get adjusted to it.
I don't know. I still feel like if you're playing, you got a hat trick probably your first 3 or 4 games at least. Yeah, but before we let you go, we do want to talk a bit of hockey and primarily Rangers talk. You know, big fan, one of the biggest in Stony Brook and on the island where there's a lot of Isles fans. So got you some unfavorable views there. But yeah, Rangers made a lot of moves over the offseason from the last time we spoke. And I want to get your thoughts on first, before anything, Henrik Lundqvist, probably the greatest goaltender in Rangers history, retiring. Your thoughts?
He was a family favorite in my family. Well, one, because I know hockey goalies historically wear number 30, but he wore it the best, especially in the red, white, and blue. And the fact that he's retiring is a sad, sad day. My brother is very upset, but I'm glad to not see him go anywhere else, if that makes sense.
Of course. You don't want to see him in the Capitals jersey.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
I think that was pretty close.
Yeah.
I just, he was a huge part and reason that they did make that a Stanley Cup run a couple of years ago. And I'm sad that I won't ever see him play again, but I'm very thankful for him. And the fact that I don't think if we had him that year that we would have made it that far, but he's also very handsome. So
that is true. It's still Swedish genes, honestly. They are tremendous people. You're, of course, in 2014, making it to the Stanley Cup Finals. He had a tremendous, my favorite memory has got to be the helicopter save against Montreal, where I don't know how, he turned into a pretzel and still managed to make the save. All incredible goals. And as you said, you saw him live. So what were some of those memories there, being able to see him in action?
Oh my God, it was unreal. The fact that, first off, hockey goalies in general, how they sit or stand, I should say, and just throw their legs on the ground, and the flexibility that they have in their hips is unimaginable to me. And the fact that they slam their knees on the ground, lacrosse players in general are known to have bad knees, and that it pains me to watch them, but being able to see him in person perform and have some of his best games it's breathtaking. It's really cool to see, and it kind of leaves you scratching your head, like, how the hell does he make those saves, or how does he see the puck that's actually like 3 inches wide? It's coming at his face at like 100 miles per hour. 100 miles per hour, yeah. Literally fearless. So it was really cool. And, the games in the Garden are always rowdy, and I like to be a part of it.
Yeah, we got that Henrik. So since we got that Henrik Lundqvist question for the Rangers, what do you expect from the team once next season comes? Do you see anything improving with them trying to make another run at getting into the playoffs?
I hope so. I don't want to say this, but I actually, although they didn't, make it very far, I was, once the Rangers were out, I did watch the Islanders just because I was hoping for a New York team to win. But now that season's over, I'm back to rooting for the Rangers and hoping that it's them.
Fair enough.
We've had a couple down years, so I'm hoping that we are slowly getting back to the 2014 era of a Stanley Cup run again. I know my brother would really appreciate that. And I'm just really looking forward to it. And I don't know, I've never told you guys this, but there's a curse. I think I curse the Rangers because anytime I like a player, they get traded. So Ryan Callahan was my first favorite Rangers. And then Brady Shea was also one of my top. Yeah.
I don't blame you at all. Oh, talk about a guy who was so underutilized, man.
So I guess that means you wouldn't. So I guess you wouldn't want to tell us who the current guy on the Rangers you would like.
I pretty got
in fear of being traded.
No, I even told my brother, I'm not even gonna pick a favorite this year because all they do is leave. So
yeah, just withhold it. Don't even think it.
Was last year Buchnevich then, or did Di Giuseppe?
It's ever since Brady Shea, I was like, okay, I'm not doing it.
You had to stop. I don't believe it at all. Yeah, a lot of roster changes, especially in that bottom six. Buchnevich, Di Giuseppe out, Fred Halliday taken by Seattle, and in with Barkley Goodrow from Tampa. Ryan Reeves is, I think, on our fourth line. He's going to be there in the Washington game to probably pick a fight with Tom Wilson. So there's your reason to watch. He's going to, I guess, block defensively fine, and he's going to punch people a lot.
That's what I like to see. Listen, I'm always here for a guy that, if he wants to take a puck to the face to stop a goal and then throw the gloves off to fight someone who cheap shotted another teammate, I'm always down to have that guy on my team.
Yeah,
I still can't get that. I still can't get that game out of my head where in the first second that fight breaks out between the Capitals and the Rangers. Of course, everybody expected it. Did you expect it?
No, but I'd love to see when you ever see them like talk before and they just kind of like agree to do it and the whistle blows, they just drop the gloves and they go right for it. That
refs always let players just lash in hell from time to time. Sometimes they won't let them. Sometimes that they will.
I love it.
Agreed. Yeah. I think just finally with the Rangers, we'll get a more, I guess, in-depth question here, just using your athletic experience and insight only you have. Is this Rangers team a lot of young blue line, a lot of young players on that blue line? Do you think that helps or hurts a team where you got a lot of youth on some of those prime positions in the midfield, or in this case, I guess, in the middle of the ice?
I can see both sides just from my experience of fresh legs, fearless kind of, like the fact that they, although it is like the highest level, that they may not be scared to make mistakes that seasoned players would be of like double hesitating or something like that. But also I think experience definitely plays a big role when you have your toughest games. Like in Stony Brook, we always relied on our seniors, although freshmen made really big plays and stepped in during games. But when push comes to shove, you always want to rely on your seniors. So I think it's good and bad. Maybe they will show something different that the Rangers haven't had in the past, and it will throw teams off. And then also the seniority on the other side will help, the new guys kind of form in and get used to the style of the team. But I'm excited for it. I'm here for the young players. I always love watching TV and being like, oh, well, he's 19 years old. And I'm like, wow, that is so impressive.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be really a fun season to watch. It'll be interesting. If you're a Rangers fan, you'll really want to hope that something big starts happening. So, one last question. It's going to be another year until Athletes Unlimited comes back for year number 2, but I'm sure you'll have a lot to fill in. Starting with this fall, we talked with Kylie also about this. Once again, taking care of being part of the USA team. How do you feel about, once again, having that opportunity?
Oh, I think it's great. I'm really looking forward to it. Although it was 5 weeks long, it went by super fast. And I already miss a lot of the girls there, and seeing them every day. And, outside of lacrosse, like I had my dog with me there, and I know so many other girls had their dogs. Like me and Kylie always had puppy play dates, but getting to meet them and their dogs and seeing everyone every day, it was really cool. And it helped me kind of adjust, going from the student athlete life in Stony Brook to then that. So I'm really looking forward to it. Again, it's been a dream of mine since I can remember. And I'm just so happy that, I can still say I'm a professional athlete and that it wasn't just a one-hit wonder, 1 year kind of thing. And I have something to look forward to and train for outside of the U.S. team. So I'm really, really happy and thankful. And I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to see if there's any changes or if it stays the same. It ran amazingly. So I'm excited.
We're very excited to see what more is going to come up with you. And we want to once again thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on again. You guys rock.